It's the 14th Sunday of Ordinary Time, and in our part of the world, what we call the United States, tomorrow is the feast celebration of our independence, the 4th of July, in which the United States colonies declared separation from England, the mother country. And there's some of motherhood in the first reading about Jerusalem being like a mother, a nourishing mother. Great joy in being fruitful because of the love and peace in Jerusalem. So that you will hear her refers to the name for Jerusalem. The gospel is in some ways about independence and call. Jesus sends his disciples off in pairs and to be independent of anything that gives them power and identity. So it's an invitation to be dependent on Jesus and community, to be independent in order to be dependent on the nourishing God. That's really what the readings are today. And one beautiful thing is, it is so usual for us to get our identity from being dependent on our job, our neighborhood, our family identity. It is good this weekend to be praying with, just smiling at how dependent we are. By nature, we want to know who we are. I was from an Irish family, and we celebrated that we were dependent on, for our Irish name, for our identity and our relatives and the stories. Who gives you your name? Who gives you your sense of yourself? What does? And there are many things, and it's kind of fun, I think, to realize that the truth is, by our humanity, we are gravitationally drawn to the earth's giving us our identity. And so it's our bank account, our anything that gives you an identity. And to pray little by little to the freedom that Jesus calls us to, that we are his sisters and brothers. We are the church. We are fellow human beings. We are created. We are loved by God. That those, we can depend on those. And those relationships, those names gives us a freedom. As Jesus says, if you go into a town, be peaceful. If they don't take you, let it go. Be who you are and do what you are. You are not what you do what you are. One little way of looking at it is, and I praying over this, I enjoyed that Jesus is asking these senders, he's sending them, the sent, to be sacraments, outward signs that he is being extended through them. That as he goes into a town, if they don't accept him, it's their loss. If they accept it, in a sense, he sets a table for them, and if they eat, he'll stay there and feed them. If they don't like to come to the table, he's moving on. And he's telling the apostles, don't get your identity from how accepted you are. Get your identity from accepting who I say you are. And to be a sacrament, as you know, in the Catholic Church, we say a sacrament is an outward sign, missioned by Christ, to be a grace. That's the simple definition for a sacrament. It's an outwardness. It's our bodies, it's our faces, it's our words, it's how we embrace, how we greet, how we do anything is sacramental. We are outward signs of the Jesus within us. And that's what he's saying to these 72. Go, you are extending me. And I'm giving you to my brothers and sisters. Go. Go and be a blessing. And you are still a blessing if people do not receive your blessing. You are still my sister and my brother, no matter what people call you, how they denounce you, how they discredit you, how they throw suspicion on you. So that to not be dependent, to be independent, so that you can be free by being dependent on the nourishing, abundant God. So Jesus says, yeah, it's a big harvest. Go and do something. And at the end of Mass, and Mass is probably said many times, Mass, it comes from the Latin word meaning to send. It's a sending that Jesus has sent into us so that Jesus will go out of us. And our gestures, we are offering him. Not all the time. We are too selfish. And Jesus knows the selfishness of the apostles and the disciples. He knows that. He knows our selfishness. He says, keep extending me to others in whatever physical gestures you use. Smiles, words, listening, feeding, healing, picking up, patting on the back, sending letters, phone calls. Whatever you do, it's a physical gesture. It's an outwardness. We are inside-out people, you know. That if you love someone, eventually you'll let them know. Some way. If you got a good joke, you'll eventually tell it. If you got some good news or even bad news, you want to tell it. We are inside-out people. And what is inside is Jesus. We depend on that. We try to be freed as you know, in American history, there were people in the colonies that did not want independence from England, and it was probably economic. The Loyalists. Their identity was British. Their economic relationships were British. So, excuse me. So, we have a struggle. And our country has a struggle. Where does it get its name? From achievements, from trophies, from wars won? No, we are, as people of the Eucharist, we are people of God. We are sisters and brothers of Jesus. We are into his mission of being sacraments, gestures of what is in us, extended to others. And it can be little, just little gestures. The Eucharist is very small. We are very small. And we do what we can do, knowing full well that we are actually quite dependent on people's opinion of us, how we look. Yeah, that's the humanity that Jesus embraces. And he knew that the apostles, the disciples might want to stay at a house for a long time that welcomes them and not stay faithful to who they are. And so when you get rejected, then reject your identity so you can be accepted by those who would reject who you really are. I know that's complicated, but he's saying to the disciples, stay faithful to who I say you are. You are me being sent in you. We receive the Eucharist to be a sacrament to others, let there be peace here. What a great sacramental word. We go places and say, let there be peace here. I don't say that by words, but how I am. May my peacefulness extend into whatever situation I come. Imagine that people say of you, I felt more peaceful because she was in my presence and I was in hers. Whew. What a great way to be a sacrament. What a great way to experience Independence Day to be dependent on who he says each of us is.